All right, guys, so we're like this close to crowning an NBA champion. So once again, I'm partnered up with the DraftKings Sportsbook to give all new customers a brand new offer. All new customers bet a minimum of $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you go to the DraftKings Sportsbook and sign up using my promo code DCTV. Two fantastic teams are vying to become world champion. It's always great to be a part of greatness, but it's also great to be in on the action while using the DraftKings Sportsbook. So once again, go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Sign up using my promo code DCTV. Bet a minimum of $5. Get $150 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. And at DraftKings, guys, the crown is yours. What's up, guys? Listen, it's the week of June 10th, and Chael's fighting in Brazil this weekend. So I actually got the week off, but I don't get the week off from y'all, because anytime there's news, especially news surrounding me or involving me, the boys got words. So, as you all know, last week, Inside the Fight or whatever, the UFC documentary came out on Roku TV. And many clips have been surfacing on the internet, and many things that are very exciting and interesting to people. I hope that people are now kind of seeing some of the inner workings of the UFC. I don't know that they're going to enjoy it all, but what I do like is that you're kind of seeing both sides of the UFC from the fighter perspective, and also now starting to see some of the way that fights are made, the way that they interact with fighters. Because honestly, sometimes, and some of the things in the documentary doesn't necessarily make the UFC look great, but the fact that they're still putting it out there is a really cool thing for fans to see. It's called Fight Inc. Inside the UFC, I think. But it's on Roku. And if you're a mixed martial arts fan and you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. Couple clips that are very interesting to me was the Aljamain Sterling clip with Hunter Campbell, and also the Jon Jones and I interaction. One, with Jon Jones and I'll address this first. For a long time, I wouldn't call this fights. I would just tell my producers and tell the people I don't want to do it, because my emotions were so strong towards him that I didn't necessarily want to call Jon Jones fights, especially when I was still competing. I'm not actively competing anymore. So I said to myself, let's do this, because these are going to be some of the bigger fights in UFC. I need to be there to try and first do my job, and second, put this whole chapter behind me and show that I can be professional and call this fight to the best of my ability. I think that I have done that every time that I've called Jon Jones's fights. The first time I did was he flipped me off afterwards. But again, I was still actively competing. He had just won the interim championship, so I get it. This time, we're doing fighter meetings. Fighter meetings are what we do on a Wednesday or Thursday before the fight, where we speak to the athletes. Generally, they come in person, but with the best ones are the main event guys. At times, they are staying off complex, and they will call in. Jon Jones being one of those guys calls in. My producers said to me, are you going to ask any questions? I go, I don't know, right? Because you have to kind of gauge the energy. So when Jon says, hey, can I speak to Daniel? Which was very odd, because let's make no mistake about it. Jon and I aren't great friends, and we probably never will be great friends. And that's okay. That is okay. He and I don't need to feel like there is an obligation for us to have some sort of great relationship. Doesn't need to be that way. You know, I know a lot of people love where old rivals become friends, and we saw that Holyfield and Mike Tyson. We saw Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, Joe Louis. all those great fights. It doesn't have to end that way. Life is not all sunshine and rainbows, so you don't have to be friends at the end of it. It's fine. It's not a big deal. But I think Jon, at times can be, and it can be odd when you come into contact with someone like that. And he felt like he wanted to do an icebreaker. So we start to talk, and we do our pleasantries. And I did have a question for Jon once he broke the ice, because honestly, I don't know. I don't think I was going to. Once he broke the ice, it opened up an avenue for me to ask him a question. I asked him about the fight, specifically how he would approach Cyril Gane and every other thing. And then the UFC pans to me and I flip him off. Guys, I wasn't flipping off Jones. I wasn't flipping off Jones. Those guys, everybody made a joke in the room afterwards. And so I flipped the bird. But it was clever because it makes it look a certain way. Now, that's my recollection of the story. It was much less than it was, but it did make for some fun, uncomfortable conversation because you could see in both of our faces, we're rolling our eyes and we're talking and we're doing what adults do. Hey, they say kids do what they want, men do what they're supposed to. We are both men. We are both professional. We tried to make it as comfortable as we possibly could, and we did just that. But guys, we don't need to be friends. You don't have to be friends. You don't need to. If there's someone that you don't enjoy in life, just steer clear of them. You don't have to be their friend. Doesn't matter. I think that's kind of where we are, and that's where we're going to stay, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm fine where I am in life. I'm sure Jon is fine where he is in life. I'm excited to see him back fighting, and I really was excited to call that fight and be able to put that behind me, that I don't really want to call his fights chapter behind me. I enjoyed that. But at the end of the day, I didn't flip him off. I don't care enough to flip him off. Like, I just want to be able to do my job and call his fights as the heavyweight champion of the world. I didn't see all of it yet, but they say there's a part where Jon finds out he's hurt, and he's hurt for a long time. I'm excited to watch that. Not because I'm going to be happy, but because I want to see that other side of Jones. They said it was very emotional. And yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the other side of him. Aljamain Sterling is talking to Hunter Campbell. And Hunter Campbell's talking to him about fighting. And Aljamain made a statement himself saying he felt like his hands were tied behind his back. That is one of those areas where I think a lot of people have questioned the way the UFC negotiates with their fighters. And I think that gives you an opening and lets you see inside of it. And I believe that wasn't necessarily the best thing. It shows you how important Hunter Campbell is to the UFC. It shows you how he operates and talks to fighters. But I don't know that Aljamain Sterling was wrong in his assessment. He said he had to relive that moment and he hated it. I don't think that he was wrong. But I do know that at the end of the day, we choose to fight, right? And if you choose to fight, you kind of deal with whatever happens, and it sucks. That happened to Aljamain. I have been in situations where I've been called faster than I wanted to and asked if I wanted to fight. And I said, no, I don't want to do it. I remember Jon Jones beat me in 2017, probably like July. August, I got called, hey, you want to fight Fabricio Verdum? I'd always said yes, always. And I said no. And then we kind of did the whole, oh, maybe this. And I was like, I don't want to do it. Ultimately, I just said, I'm not doing it. I'm taking a whole year off. It's the first time I've ever been stopped. First time I've ever been knocked out. I'm not going to fight. And ultimately, it was my call. Didn't want to do it. Didn't do it. And then didn't fight again until January of the next year. I knew I needed 6 months off. I took it, waited for my time to come back, just like Justin Gaethje said he is right now. And I believe as fighters, you do what's best for you. You know, a lot of times you may think about the money to be made and the excitement, and that's great. Sometimes it works out. On the other hand, that happened for me with Derek Lewis in 3 weeks. They called me, they offered me an insane amount of money. It was short time. Didn't have a real good time to have a training camp, but I liked the matchup, so I did it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and you have to understand that. But I do like that the UFC was willing to show that side of things, even though it may not have been the thing that will be perceived as positive by the fans. You know, mixed martial arts is a sport that's constantly evolving. But I want to ask you guys one question. Last week, right, that press conference thing was supposed to happen. It didn't happen. And we got a statement from Conor's team. Michael Chandler said it's still happening. But outside of that, not much, right? We still didn't get many answers. So what? I know we've gotten updates from Ariel Helwani. I know we've gotten updates from people in the media. We see Conor training again. But what? What happened? Could someone tell me? Is the fight? I mean, I don't know. This is literally the most confusing situation I've ever seen in the UFC. Because now it seems like a week passed, we all just kind of forgot. We just moved on. So we're just operating under the assumption that it's still happening. Look, I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to Vegas in 2 weeks to call Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. That is all I know until I'm told otherwise. But for me, I'm like, what happened? Are we going to get any answers as to why this press conference was canceled? I don't get it. It's very rare that something as big as that seemed to be gets canceled and nobody says nothing about it. It's crazy. In the comments, guys, tell me. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the show? Also, tell me what you think about the way it played out between Aljamain Sterling and the UFC. In that instance, right, because Aljamain Sterling, for some reason, has made people feel like they don't want to support him. And he said it even in his clip. He goes, I know they say I go to social media and I don't help myself. But did you feel for him in that moment watching that clip? Also, what do you think about Jon Jones and I? Do you think we should squash the beef? Do you think that Jon Jones and I should have a coffee? I'm just asking. You guys think we should have a coffee? Guys, look, Ben Askren's in town this week. Ben Askren and I will do Funky and the Champ in person this week, and we'll have an episode for you later in the week. Guys, till next time, like, subscribe, tell your friend and tell a friend that DC's got a YouTube channel and that I'm dropping stuff like this. Guys, hit that notification button so you don't have to miss anything. Till next time, peace.